Hey folks, again, I'm back again. He's an African brother, Truth Africa series. He had a video, Whites Are Scared of Black People. Why whites are scared of black people? And this is the truth. Jane Elliott, she's sociologist, I think, or I think she's a sociologist. There's another name for it, especially they deal with race and pathology. It's like kind of like they deal with what do you call like she's a sociologist, I think, and kind of anthropology she does it. And she uses more anthropology. She's an anthropologist more, I would say. An aspect. But what she's saying about white people in America. And this guy goes into it kind of, short little video. Why America is racist, it's getting more bad. And he just gives an interview with he's showing an interview with Jane Elliott, this other dude, interviewing her. So here's the video, folks.
Truth Africa series, unapologetic and truthful. I am your host, Yemi Melikaya. Watch this video of human rights activist Jane Elliott on racism in America. Here's what she has to say.
She's an activist. I think she's she's more than an activist, actually. So I think she's more than an activist.
Say, pay attention.
And right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute, and he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, the main...
I think it's a right-wing institute, I think, folks.
problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country. He was an advice...
Right, they're a right-wing institute, just like the Federalist Society, and all these alphabet, white racist, so-called think tanks. Wow. Am I right?
Two presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you almost exactly what he says. He says there are three things we can do to solve this. Number one, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine.
See, that's why you get the child tax credit. Here you get it's like the same thing what they do with here. Called a baby bonus. They have in Canada, they call it the baby bonus. In other countries they do it too. In UK they do it. I guess they do it in he said European countries, so I guess the other countries, Spain, Italy, I guess. I don't know if all of them do it, but she's saying that. So they do that. They do the child. It's like a tax credit. We have kids. I guess the US, they don't have that. They had it for a while in COVID, when the COVID crisis happened. Then they stopped doing that. Stopped the child tax credit. But I don't know if any. It's a federal thing. I don't know if any individual states do that. I don't think so. I should really check that out, but we'll go back.
Unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that.
That's why they don't do that, see? That's why they don't do that. Child tax credit. That's why.
Says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those going to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and white men and women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth. Does that sound like racism to you?
Can you talk a little bit about the trauma associated with?
The trauma associated with it?
Yeah.
One of the main traumas is it tells white people that they are superior because of the lack of melanin in their skin. And then they find out suddenly that we've got a black president. That's traumatic. That's where the trauma is. Living a lie, finding out the truth is traumatic. Finding out now, recently, that within 30 years, white people will be in the numerical minority in this country is going to be traumatic. White people are scared to death right now, particularly white males. They're scared to death that they are going to lose their power in the future. And they are. But if you want to get ready for the future, if you want to be...
So 30 years, so it's around, well, that's from 2010, I guess, this video. So around 2040, it's going to be it's going to be like a sea change. They're going to be in the minority. White folks. Like her is going to be in the minority in America.
treated well in the future, treat others well in the present.
Exactly.
What we do in the present constructs the future. We call the Japanese, and you'll pardon me, but this is what we call them, slant-eyed little yellow
Mm-hmm.
We can say that about the Germans. After the war, we rebuilt Germany and Japan, and we get along beautifully with the Japanese.
Yep.
That was in 1945 that we finally won that war. How many years ago was that? Figure that out quickly.
I'm not a math person, but
You're not a math person, but you know it wasn't that far. And it didn't
No.
take 50 years for us to have peace with the Japanese and the Germans. Even though we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. The Japanese hadn't killed 10 million people. Nowhere near that. We didn't drop any bombs on Germany. Any atomic bombs on Germany. They were a different kind of people. We couldn't afford to do that. We killed how many Japanese people?
She's saying, see? The people of color, that's the difference. She's saying, making that distinction there. I think.
With 2 atomic bombs. And they forgave us. You want to talk about forgiveness? You want to talk about changing this thing? I cannot understand how Japanese people can stand the sight of any of us. And yet they do. I cannot understand why black people who have been subjected to the ugliness that they've been subjected to in this country can get up every morning and go to work among us and not be absolutely furious. And I don't understand why we allow white people to behave the way they do. I don't understand that. And my 3rd graders, after they'd gone through the exercise, couldn't understand it and wouldn't tolerate it. And when they went up to junior high, and a junior high teacher used the N-word,
Wow.
one of my former students said, if you're going to use that word, I'm going to go out in the hall until you stop using it, because we don't use that word in this school.
That's a big thing, folks. High school teacher used the N-word. It's amazing, folks. I think they don't care, folks. Like, some of them don't care. Yep. They don't care, folks. That's all it is.
A 7th grader who told his teacher off, when we have enough students who are willing to confront people who are making racist, sexist, ageist, homophobic statements, we're going to be better off. We have got to stop tolerating the intolerable.
Thank
If
you.
it's intolerable for my black cousins, and every black person on this earth is one of my cousins, if it's intolerable for them, it's intolerable for me. I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. That is not that. I am required not to tolerate that kind of treatment for the people who are related to me. And that's every person on the face of the earth. If your ignorance is such that you will mistreat somebody because of your ignorance about the color of their skin, don't do it around me. Number 1, I've been threatened with death lots of times. Now I say, go for it, fool.
Wow.
My husband died 4 years ago. Being with him would not be a bad thing for me. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Living a worthless, useless life is much worse than dying.
Before we go any further,
Wow. That's a great point, folks. That's a great point. Wow. Worthless, useless lie. Wow. That's a great point. She's a great advocate, folks. I guess for black liberation, equality. He calls her she's a civil, she's activist. I think she's a anthropologist though, more than this activist. But that's a great point. I like her. See, that's why America's getting more racist, and it's getting even worse. This is that's 2010 at the interview, I think. And yeah, it's getting worse. And Trump made it. He made a match. When Trump came in, he made it worse because he made it more acceptable to come out and do what they do with racist acts. Racists came out more when Trump came into power, and yeah, end racism. We are equal. End racism. Stop the violence. It's not gonna really stop. And
Let's establish a clear understanding of what racism is.
and about this so-called, Nick pointed RBN's right too. Where are the black leaders? He pointed out this to me when I was watching one of the streams. The black civil rights leaders of today, where are they now? I mean, there's no strong leader to combat their fascism, their racism right now. Particularly on the right, but on the left too, there's a lot of racism. I noticed that, folks. So it's a so-called white left. But they warned about the white left, the white liberal, and the moderate whites, or the white moderates and the white liberals. Malcolm X and MLK warned about them, and they were right.
Racism is a deeply ingrained system of discrimination and prejudice that is based on someone's race or ethnicity. It often leads to unequal treatment, unequal opportunities, and sometimes even violence. To truly comprehend the present, we must acknowledge the past. Racism has deep historical roots, with instances like slavery, colonialism, and segregation having left a lasting impact on societies and their structures. This historical injustice continues to reverberate in various forms today. Racism is not just about blatant acts of hatred or discrimination. It can be subtle, often manifesting as unconscious bias or microaggressions. Systemic racism, on the other hand, is deeply ingrained in institutions and policies that perpetuate inequality.
Yeah, I know this. Yeah, we all know this. And systemic white supremacy. Actually, it's white supremacy. This is white supremacy, plain and simple, folks. I guess he thinks this guy's brother doesn't. I know he didn't mention white supremacy. That's what all it is stems from. And all under the umbrella of white supremacy. But hey, folks, I'm going to end this. America's getting more racist, yeah. And it's not going to be, going to get even worse, it seems like, folks. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, folks. And no one has combated it. No black leaders. No revolutionary. Maybe RBN, maybe, but no one's doing that, combating it, it seems like. And so many white liberals, maybe a few white liberals are, the conservatives are not, they don't care. The white liberals, some are, and when the black people are combating it, but they're doing it wrong. Some are, a lot are doing against it, but they don't care. I guess they're okay with their oppression. Like some are okay with their oppression, seems like. They want to be oppressed. It seems like they're okay with their oppression, some of these black folks in America. Anyways, folks, that's it for this video. I'm out.